All right, everyone. Welcome to this weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast for October 9th through the 15th of 2017. And yes, this video is for Sidereal. If you don't know what that is, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. And after this collective reading, we're going to get into the individual signs. So you want to make sure you're watching this video for the right signs. All right, so let's look at this collectively for everyone here. Taking a look at the week. Some challenging aspects this week. It's been this kind of touchy area of the chart, particularly with these fast movers sort of squaring up to Saturn and squaring up to Pluto. So it's that kind of a thing. But like I always say, there's a constructive way of working with this. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this is unfolding and how to work with it. Now, in the context of the greater picture, we just did have a full moon last week. So we are in the third quarter phase of the cycle, which is usually a time when we're willing to take action and initiate things. All right, that's what the squares are about. We don't have a whole lot of squares today, actually, mostly oppositions, which are more about balance, which I'll talk about, or this week rather. But yeah, in either case, though, the third quarter phase is when the moon squares the sun. But because it's the third quarter, not the first quarter, when it first happens, we're more willing to take action and initiate things. And we're just kind of, ready to have the tire meet the pavement kind of thing. All right, so good to utilize that. Good to be aware of it. And then next week, we will have a new moon. And as we get into this weekend, it will be a more dying down sort of energy, good for reflection, the ending of the past cycle, and then starting a brand new cycle, which will be a new moon conjunct Jupiter, suggesting the areas Jupiter's been expanding, which we'll look at for you individually next week. All right, so yeah, this week, let's go ahead and break it down one by one. Coming into Monday, we still have Mercury very close to the sun. And so there still is this kind of fiery energy behind our mind. In fact, Mercury will be squaring up to Pluto and the sun squaring up to Pluto Monday and Tuesday. So if you are feeling a bit of restlessness or there's a lot of passion or energy behind your mind and thinking, or maybe busy with the routine or something like that, as I always say with this combust energy with Mercury and Sun, good to channel this into constructive things. So like writing things down, coming up with plans. It can be a very creative energy, in fact, when channeled, right? So, or maybe just expressing yourself with a friend or, a confidant and getting it out that way, right? So if you're feeling that, again, it's more collective. But I think in either case, mostly Monday, Tuesday, there is this bit of a deep energy about all this. And this was part of that full moon. The full moon last week was squaring up to Pluto. So with these two planets now squaring Pluto exact coming into the week, I think there could be this holding on, wanting to hold on tight to something. We'll see which houses this is for you personally, but wanting to hold on tight to something, maybe a bit of wanting to control things because of the fear of not having. It's the ego's fear, right? And this is what Pluto helps us release, is the attachment. And so anything you can do Monday, Tuesday to have that step back, centered approach, become aware of the feeling of maybe wanting to control or feeling of attachment, that awareness can help free us up. And that's what Pluto is helping us do, is become more ego-less, you could say, right? Sort of the destroyer of the ego, if you will. So, and then as a result, it becomes very powerful, right? Very transformative once we're in that place of non-attachment. When we're okay with not having, with not controlling, with something not being a certain way or whatever it is, it becomes very empowering, and that empowerment can be channeled very constructively. Usually in a way that we're then able to see changes that, or take some actions that we normally wouldn't have taken or done had we still been operating in that sense of security and fear. All right, so great day for transformation, empowering, I think, nonetheless. But hopefully with this conscious attention, it can help that, energy be more balanced and more helpful. So as we get into here, also around this time period, but going into Tuesday, Venus is going to start to shift into Virgo. In fact, she's going to be shifting in right at the beginning of the week as well, actually. But while she shifts, she does oppose up to Chiron here around Tuesday. And so our values are shifting coming into this week, right? Venus represents what we enjoy, what our values are, and it's in Virgo, which does have to do with more of the practical things in life, right? So day to day, work, improvements, details, finding solutions. This has already been a big emphasis. As you can see, Mercury and the Sun have already been transiting Virgo here for about the past couple weeks. But now we can see the value of this and even enjoy it a bit when Venus comes into Virgo. Now, mind you, Venus is debilitated in Virgo, which means she's not very comfortable here. So it does require this extra attention for about this month plus while she's transiting Virgo to see the value of improvements, of, organizing, taking care of things in our life with ourselves. It makes it an excellent time for everything that is about self-improvement, personal development, and growth. And as a result, that can also benefit our relationships. Because when Venus comes into Virgo, we can be very nitpicky or very, too detailed, perfectionistic kind of thing when it comes to the relationship sphere of matters, whether it's about ourselves or our partner or whatever it is. So improving ourselves is the best way of working with Virgo, because that is what we have control over, which is Virgo. And as a result, then that can help the energy flow with relationships and anything else we're enjoying or valuing at this time. All right, so the opposition up to Chiron is not a major thing, but on Tuesday, if there are any wounds coming up regarding relationships, really good to be aware of them on one level and then accept them on the other, because it's the awareness and then acceptance of the wounds that leads to healing. Okay, so it's usually an internal process with Chiron, not usually an external one, but in this case with an opposition, maybe there actually is some healing taking place in your personal relationships or in your perspective of relationships in general. And as you do that inner healing, again, I think this can be transformational Monday, Tuesday time. All right, so that's the beginning of the week, and I do want to mention these 2 days. The moon will be in Taurus, which the moon is exalted in Taurus, actually, very comfortable for our emotions, our feelings, really good for taking things slowly and steadily, stopping to smell the roses, right, connecting to earth, grounding ourselves, and feeling perhaps a bit resourceful coming into these couple days. Now, of course, I do a daily forecast for that, so we'll look at those 2 days in more detail, but I do want to mention that the moon is in Taurus. All right, then once we get into Wednesday, the moon does shift into Gemini, and there is this sort of theme about practicality of more of the mental sense. I think Wednesday in particular, really good for inquisitiveness, reading, writing, getting into that mental stimulation. But along with that, we do have Mars squaring up to Saturn, as Mars shifts into Virgo. So these, Venus, Mars, they've been very close to each other. Venus goes into Virgo early in the week, followed by Mars here midweek. And where Venus is our values, Mars is our desires. Now, they may seem like very similar things, but Venus is what we enjoy and want to attract to us, whereas Mars is what we want to pursue and take action, to get, right, with Mars. So that's also going into Virgo. Now, Mars isn't as uncomfortable as Venus here, but still, it's an earth sign, not the best place for Mars to be in. It's more about fire with Mars. But if we are willing to take things, again, practically towards self-improvement, right, one step at a time, details, it can be an excellent time of getting things done using that energy, okay? But with that being said, here this mid part of the week, Mars is squaring up to Saturn. All right, so there's this bit of probably Wednesday feeling a bit blocked or challenged collectively. Maybe seeing how things do take time, right? Saturn, because Mars is what we want now. And going into that Earth sign is kind of putting on the brakes a bit. And then especially with the square up to Saturn, because Saturn is saying, look, yeah, it's great to have immediate gratification, immediate, get the things we want immediately. However, there's a much bigger picture. There's a responsible way of getting things done. It's a patient way of getting things done in a responsible way, right? So long-term values, long-term desires, really good to sort of integrate in our being if you are feeling any type of that blocked or challenged energy in the sense that things are taking time or you're taking one step back. It's okay. Things aren't, it takes time for things to to be built, to go after the things that we truly desire in life. All right, so that's the mid part of the week. And then as we get into about, let's see, Friday. So yeah, that moon will be in Gemini Wednesday, Thursday, that inquisitive energy there along with that. But once we get into about, Friday, Thursday, Friday time, we do have a good aspect this week with Mercury sextiling up to Saturn. And so this is really good for, I think, productive things. Our mind can be very grounded. It can be mentally stable with this. It's just an opening for it. But really good for the work or routine or anything that does require good, productive mind. Or even communication as well, actually. Probably just some good grounded energy with that. And as you can see with the red, we do get a bit of a break, I think, throughout the week, collectively, these couple days. But, it's always kind of like that. There's always the energies of challenge and ease throughout a week, and it's good to just use them in different ways. Whereas the red, the squares and oppositions, are more about challenging ourselves. The blue are just a bit of the easier energy, which we can choose or choose not to work with. But in this case, it's certainly there with that productive mental energy. All right, then as we get into the weekend, we've got the moon in Leo actually this weekend. So I think it will be really good for just having some fun maybe, or getting into your creative side, entertainment, things like this. But it is the ending phase of the cycle, like I was saying, because we're going to have a new moon next week. So this weekend, maybe getting that rest, easygoingness, chilling out a bit, that kind of thing might be good if you're guided to do that. And then there is some healing taking place, I think, with our confidence, with that Mars energy over the weekend. If again, this is more internal with Chiron, but if any wounds do come up, really good to do that self-healing there. And especially if it has to do with your self-image, or again, your confidence, like feeling like, whether you can or can't pursue the things you desire in life, or your goals, even with those. So acceptance, first awareness, then acceptance of the wounds, that process, it can be very transformational with Chiron. And then going into next week, I think feeling healed and rejuvenated by this process. Again, a lot of this is free will based, but I think if you use this weekend for that kind of healing, can be very, refreshing going into next week. So the last thing this week is Mercury is going to be opposite up to Uranus on Sunday. So this can be a bit of an uneasy energy, maybe compulsive. But again, there's a healthy way of working with this. So I think thinking outside the box, doing new and different things, there's a sense of freedom. The reason why there's this kind of uneasy, compulsive energy is because we're wanting to break free mentally, or with the routine, maybe wanting to just escape it with Uranus and Pisces or whatever. But listening to the freedom and seeing how we can incorporate both freedom of routine and change, right? And just freedom of, having freedom in our life and expressing ourselves, while at the same time maintaining our responsibilities, right? With Mercury and Virgo. Whatever it is we're doing that's improvement based, again, it's a great time for self-improvement, personal development, and in that routine as well, while still finding the time to, mix things up, try something new and different. And probably with this axis of Virgo and Pisces, getting some rest, while at the same time, again, staying rooted in our personal development. All right, so that is the week in a nutshell. I know there's a lot going on. I talked about a lot of different things, but let's go ahead and break this down very simply for each of the 13 zodiac signs. So at this point in the reading, go down to the comment section, and you'll find timestamps next to your signs. I do recommend watching this for your sun, moon, and ascendant sign. And there's a calculator down below if you don't know your moon or ascendant. And watching all three should give you a pretty holistic picture. All right, so I'll see you on the detailed reading. All right, Aries, welcome to your weekly forecast. So the most important thing for you this week is your ruler Mars shifting sign going into Virgo. So for about the next couple months, I think it'll be a really good time for you particularly getting involved with your work. I think there's going to be more energy going into your work or available in this area this week. And this shift will be about midweek around Wednesday, so give it some time, but it's certainly shifting. And your routine, maybe your health, right? Putting some energy into that. And I think nonetheless, even just coming into the week, you're probably starting to see some of the value of these things in your life. Maybe even enjoying it. In fact, with Venus in the 6th, you're enjoying your work. Maybe some of you forming some relationships, some new relationships, or developing some existing relationships in your work now for this next roughly couple months here. All right, so coming into the week on Monday, there is that square up to Pluto with the Sun and Mercury I was talking about. And so I think your mind and your focus has already been on your day-to-day here. So if there's anything that you can do, if there is anything that is attached involving this area or involving your life path in some way with Pluto in your 9th, your perspective, your view of the world. Again, like I was saying in the general, really good to do that non-attachment, right? Be aware of it, see where we might be holding on tight, taking a step back, and then, when we're not attached, then this tremendous freedom arises to then make some powerful changes. And I think a lot of you will be making likely some powerful changes coming into the week involving the future, your life path, and how this work and routine is a part of that. That right now, and this whole cycle has been about development, work, routine, day to day. And with that non-attachment there, it can be very empowering for you to make some changes in that area as well. All right. So let's see what else were the most important things. The opposition up to Chiron. There might be some healing, like I was saying in the general about relationships. What you heard in the general, I think is as far as it'll probably go for your sign generally. Around Wednesday, when your ruler Mars goes into Virgo, it's going to be squaring up to Saturn, right? So particularly around Wednesday, your sign, especially, just kind of, being cool, taking a step back. If you're willing to, take things slowly and see the big picture, right? And even challenge yourself to maybe do some of these whatever it is that requires responsibility. And it's likely involving, it's involving you generally, but it's likely involving your routine or your work as Mars shifts in there. Then great. It can be very constructive. I think it's a great week for building things, building upon, this stuff that you've already been motivated towards and focused on, all right, with that 6th house. Now, let's see, Thursday, Friday, we do have that easy aspect with Mercury, Saturn, so you're grounded here. I think these 2 days, it's just a little bit more stable, more than likely, collectively, involving your work or routine, which is good. You got that stable energy there available for that. And then the weekends with your ruler then opposite Chiron. So over the weekend, again, if any wounds do come up, good to do that healing, especially for your sign, because again, it's involving your ruler Mars. And again, a balance. I think striking that balance between, yes, there's all of this great energy to be focused on your work and routine right now. But then especially once Mercury opposes Uranus on Sunday, but this whole weekend, it's just suggesting this balance, right? This needing some rest, maybe some alone time, some spiritual energy. And that's what it's about, right? Bringing the rest into your routine and structuring your routine to have rest so that you can continue to develop what is this very important time of your work and routine, during these next couple of months. All right, so that kind of thing, and that can ease any type of uneasiness or restlessness if you are feeling that over the weekend, and if any wounds do come up. Again, I think finding that balance between what is outside of your control with Pisces, such as getting rest, relaxing, faith, trust, right, tranquility, can help balance out what is a great time, though, to continue to develop your work and routine. All right, Aries, so have a fantastic week. I hope this was helpful for you. If it was, please like, comment, and share it down below with your friends and family. It's very much appreciated. And I'll see you all very soon for the next daily forecast. Take care. All right, Taurus, welcome to your weekly forecast. So the simplest way of looking at this week is that your ruler Venus is going to be shifting into your 5th house of self-expression. This is the house of fun, of playfulness, of anything that's close to our hearts, right? So whatever it is you've been focused on here, some of you may be just getting into your creative side, enjoying some of that creativity. So great to continue to do that with the Sun, Mercury already here, but your ruler, Venus, is shifting into here coming into the week. So it's like seeing the value of this area, or maybe this area being more emphasized. And I think anything you can do to express yourself, have some fun, connect to what you enjoy in life is just a fantastic way of working with really these next couple months with this energy here. Now, coming into the week, that Sun, Mercury will be squaring up to Pluto, like I was saying. So if there is anything that you're feeling you're attached to, you're holding on tight, maybe with the self-expression, maybe with the things that you want in life with the 5th house. You know, it's like the things that that we find fun and enjoyable. If there's anything that you're holding on tight to that, again, like I was saying in the general, just that working on this development here of non-attachment. And through that, then it's this non-attachment of your self-expression, right? When we're no longer attached to what we're creating or what we're expressing, a tremendous power arises. And I think it's that kind of a thing. And even facing fears with Pluto in your 8th house, right? If there's anything you can do to face some fears, to have fun, to express yourself, to get into this creative energy, or just to create, is a fantastic way of coming into this week. Now, there might be some healing here around Tuesday as your ruler does oppose up to Chiron. So if any wounds do come up, maybe pertaining to the future in some way, or your ideals, or for some of you, maybe your tribe, do be aware of that. Again, these are internal wounds. They're not actually a representation of whether you're capable or not in this area, but the wounds can certainly come up. So do that internal healing. Know you're very good with this area. And that acceptance, right? And that acceptance of the wounds and working with it can be very, again, transformational. I think it's going to be a transformational beginning of the week for all of us, especially with those signs that are influenced with this, which your sign certainly is. All right, so Wednesday midweek, Mars then goes into your 5th. So I think you'll notice this energy going into your self-expression, which will be probably very direct with your self-expression, motivated towards this area, which is great. But around Wednesday, just kind of feeling a bit throttled maybe, or things are taking time. And I think a lot of that might be involving the relationship sphere with Saturn in your 7th, right? That's been an area of responsibility, of working hard these past couple of years, or patience, just development here. So yeah, continue to develop your relationships, you know? Continue to develop your self-improvement, in fact, too. You know, that's where it all starts. So just take it one step at a time. And I think you'll notice that the energy does start to lift off after Wednesday. And whatever this is with Saturn, it's just helping you really build this area, build relationships, and build your self-expression in ways that are long-lasting and real and grounded, right? So then as we get into about Thursday, Friday, that Mercury then sextile Saturn, so that easy aspect. These couple days, maybe just feeling a bit grounded with the self-expression, maybe good stability with finances is possible. And then with those relationships too, just an opening there. It's nothing major, but again, maybe some good communication, mental energy, exchanging ideas, sharing, that kind of thing. Then Saturday, Sunday, yeah, Mars opposes Chiron. I don't think this is going to be a major thing for your sign in particular, but if any wounds, again, do come up, maybe in this sense regarding relationships, actually, if they do, then again, doing that self-healing is great. And then Sunday, Mercury does oppose up to Uranus, so if there is any uneasy energy, like I was saying, around Sunday, I think this is striking some sort of balance between, yes, it's such a great time to be doing your passions and creating and expressing yourself, but then also just remembering to, you know, connect to your tribe, connect to your community, spend some time with your friends. There's some sort of freedom here that's really wanting to break through in terms of you're wanting to contribute or be a part of something larger than yourself. And that's very important to have, right? Both what we're passionate about, but then also contributing and being a part of something that's larger than just our own gratification with the 5th, right? that kind of thing. Finding that balance, I think, is great. Listen to that freedom with Uranus, something there suggesting you wanted some freedom with this tribe or this community thing, or maybe just with your future, your ideals, right, or both. And listen to that, but then again, stay rooted in your passions, in your self-expression, in your creative energy there, because it's a balance of both. All right, so Taurus, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next daily forecast. All right, Geminis, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week we've got your ruler still very close to the sun coming into Monday. And this is all taking place in your 4th house of your home or your health right now. So really good, I still think, to be focused on these roots in your life. Home, health, maybe spending some time with family or working, improving that area. And with Monday, though, with that conjunction squaring up to Pluto, Monday even going into Tuesday, really good for non-attachment, I think, with the home stuff and just in general. And especially with relationships too. Pluto in your 7th house has been really helping you break some patterns with relationships. And it's just your view of relationships, but even karmic energy coming up too that you're resolving. So it's great to just be, non-attached as best as you can. And that can be very empowering, right? When we're not controlling, we're not holding on to too tightly to the relationship or what's going on with that or the partner or something, and then not holding on too tightly to the home, right, type of stuff. This then is very empowering and very transformational. I think, especially because it's involving your ruler coming into this week, there is this transformation taking place through this empowerment of non-attachment, of non-ego, that we all have this opportunity to develop and work with in a way that's comfortable for us at our own speed coming into the week. Now, this is the same time that Venus does start to go into your 4th house. So I think you're going to start to see a lot of the values with your home life, right? Enjoying that, even attracting some things in terms of your home, making it beautiful. What do you call it? Just decorating it, things like this, renovating maybe. So enjoying it nonetheless, though, right? Spending some time with home, family, things like this over this next roughly couple months is a great value to be seen, a great enjoyment to be had with it. And Mars is going to be going in there on Wednesday, right? And so if there is any energy that you've likely had, maybe involving more practical things like reading and writing and more mental stuff lately, these past couple months, that's now starting to shift into your home front. So great to see how you can put some energy into the home area. Maybe, again, getting active at home, moving, changing, transforming. Mars is about that. Then also maybe doing active things with your family, perhaps. Maybe assuming more of a leadership role in the home front, or just a lot of you seeing what you desire about this area. And really good too, maybe, working out, because it's also health. And when Mars comes in here, it could be really good for working out, active things, to get in good health. So that kind of stuff, whatever you're guided to do regarding that, but good to channel that energy into the personal stuff in life. Now, around Wednesday, there might be a bit of a blockage. Like I was saying, Mars is squaring Saturn. So just kind of being cool. A lot of this, I think, has more to do with your work and routine. It's been good for you to work hard at your work and routine these past couple years. And so it's just another step in that direction. All right. How can you continue to take things one step at a time with your work or your routine so you can ground that area, establish it. And then with Mars, just be, again, willing to take a step back and then maybe be patient with whatever it is that you're motivated towards, right? So there's the energy's there, but again, it's, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of thing. And patience too with the home stuff if there's anything pertaining to that regarding this. All right, and then Thursday, Friday, then your ruler does have an easy aspect with Saturn, Mercury sextile Saturn, good for mental stability, also bringing in some support and constructive energy into your routine, as well as your home life and your health as well. So a good couple days to work with that. And then the weekend does have Mars opposite Chiron, although I don't think that's going to be involving your sign that much. But I think if there are any wounds that do come up involving the routine or your work or your career even, with Chiron up in your 10th, heal those inner wounds. It's not a representation of what actually exists. They're internal wounds. You know you're very good in this area. And again, the acceptance there can be very healing going into next week. And I think it's a really good weekend to strike that balance too with your home life and your career life, or your personal life and your public life, right? It's such a good time to be putting, like I said, energy into your personal life. But with Uranus, Mercury opposite Uranus in particular around Sunday, if you're feeling a bit uneasy, wanting to break free, maybe it's involving your career in some way, you know, listen to that freedom, but again, stay rooted in your roots, right? We can't have good career changes, freedom there with a productive life or our public life if we don't have good roots with our home and our personal life and our health, right? So great weekend to find that balance, and that can ease any type of, you know, compulsiveness or stress or uneasiness that might be the case with the opposition up to Uranus. Your personal chart's going to determine that. But yeah, that type of thing, you know, cultivating both areas, personal life, along with listening to what might need to change, or so you can have more freedom in your career. All right. Great ways to balance that energy. Because, yeah, we can't have one without the other, right? So that type of balance. All right, so Geminis, hope you have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And I'll see you all very soon for the next daily forecast. Take care. All right, Cancers, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week, your ruler of the moon is going to be in the third quarter phase. So I think generally for you, good to, like I was saying, the general initiate. I think you're willing to, usually in this part of the lunar cycle, take some actions, initiate towards some things, and put things into motion. So coming into the week on Monday, that Sun-Mercury conjunction will be squaring up to Pluto. So where I think there has been a lot of focus on your practical things right now, some of you may be learning or reading or matters relating to communication. Good to continue to focus on that, no doubt. But on Monday with the square up to Pluto, maybe some things you're holding on to, or there's just a bit of control, wanting to control things involving this area, or maybe involving your routine actually, since that's where Pluto's actually transiting in your 6th house, or maybe involving your work in some way. So like I was saying, generally, as best as you can, developing that non-attachment can be very transformational. I think coming into the week, there can be this bit of transformation in terms of this lifting off weights of not feeling like we need to hold on so tightly to the things that we want or want to own or possess or control in our life. Then also on Tuesday, this is when Venus starts to go into Virgo. So right off the bat this week, I think you'll start to see more of the values, if you aren't already, involving this practical stuff. Some of you are taking courses. Some of you are writing some books or blogging, things like that. Some of you getting into practical things that are like mathematical or programming, stuff like this. So whatever this is on the mental or practical side of things, even business and trade, you can be enjoying this, I think, seeing the value of this now for the next couple months roughly, as Venus now starts to transit that area. Now, Mars goes in there on Wednesday, so you'll likely be very direct with your communication, and again, maybe motivated towards some of this practical stuff Wednesday onward. But with Mars squaring up to Saturn, if there is anything that you're feeling like needs to take some time, maybe it's involving the things that you're passionate about. The past couple of years, it's been more serious connotation to the things you're passionate about or your self-expression. But that's good, right? Saturn is helping you build and develop your self-expression, so it's grounded, long-lasting, and your passions are built long-term. So it's that kind of thing of just remembering that sort of patience there, and taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back, involving your passions, involving your self-expression, and also too likely involving whatever the shift is towards this practical stuff, which is continuing to develop for you this week. And also with your career too. If there's anything involving your productive life around Wednesday, good to be, embody that Saturn energy, take the long-term approach, and I think you'll find that to be very constructive. Now, Thursday, Friday is when we have the easy aspect with Saturn, and this will be involving Mercury. So you have the stabilizing energy now coming into your mind, your practical ability, which is good, great for productive stuff. And again, expressing yourself perhaps in this, or creating things in this now, slowly but stable sort of way. And then over the weekend, I don't think it's going to be a big thing, but Mars is opposing up to Chiron. I think where the big balance, there's going to be balance, I think, important this weekend, and I think it will be involving these houses, but where I think it's going to be mostly emphasized is with that Mercury opposite Uranus, especially around Sunday. If there is anything that feels erratic or you're wanting to break free through, and it might be involving your life path, right? Or whatever it is you're learning about. On one hand, there's all this stuff you're learning practically, but then in the 9th house, this is like wanting freedom of just expanding your horizons, or some of you may be wanting to travel or do things that are more expansive, not so dense and immediate with 3rd house. So finding that balance though, because it is an integration of both. And and I think if you do find that balance, I think you'll find that it's great to see the big picture and then also see the practical picture, right? Because all houses are just 2 sides of the same coin, and in this sense, the two sides are what's practical and what's possible, what is immediate, what is future, expansive, freeing, but what is actually possible is practical, and that practicality does need a bit of that open-mindedness. If you are feeling that pull and that freedom of needing that, I think it's certainly something to listen to with that. All right, so Cancers, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast. All right, Leos, welcome to your weekly forecast. So coming into the week, your ruler will still be very close to Mercury. I think there could be an emphasis on your work or your routine coming into the week, and mental energy, which could be utilized certainly. And a lot of this is, I think, focused right now on your finances or your resources. So if there's anything on the external like that, I think it's still an excellent time to continue to focus on where you can bring in more material security in your life, but also, access that inner sense of self-worth and self-reliance that I think is what this whole cycle really is cultivating. But anyways, on Monday and Tuesday with this conjunction squaring up to Pluto, it is a reminder that Pluto's been helping you be non-attached with your self-expression. So great time coming into the week to be as non-attached as you can when it comes to the things you're creating, when it comes to the literal self-expression, and anything you're passionate about in life. And with that non-attachment, it can be very transformational, very empowering. In fact, your sign could be particularly feeling this because it's involving the sun. But freeing yourself up from the non-attachment is very liberating, and you could even feel empowered to express yourself, have some fun, create in a way that is non-attached. Now, this is the same time that Venus does start to go into your second house, which is a good house for Venus, actually. So for the next roughly couple months, it'll be really good, I think, to be enjoying a bit of the things you value and being grateful for what you have in life, and maybe even attracting some of these values materially, especially. Now, Wednesday is when Mars goes in there. And I think the energy, the motivation and drive is going to be coming into this area midweek onward. So great to unlock that. Great to put that Mars energy into there, into investments, savings, budgeting, whatever it is that you're doing. Or just, increasing your income in some way or something. But around Wednesday in particular, just kind of being patient with those matters. Simply because Mars will be squaring up to Saturn going into that second. And I think the area that you can really implement the patience with is on the home stuff and your health as well. That's what Saturn's been helping you really ground these past couple of years. So challenging yourself there is fantastic. Patience, responsibility with home, with health, one step at a time, big picture type of energy, and even with the financial stuff if you're feeling that shift. And I think you'll find this to be a very constructive middle part of the week in which you're building upon this stuff for the long term. Now, Thursday through Friday does have Mercury sextiling up to that Saturn, so there is a bit of the easy energy here. Nothing major, but just an opening here to, I think, connect to your values again, be grateful for what you have, maybe continue to, again, develop your material security, maybe feeling quite stable with your friends or your tribe or your future aspirations, which is good also. And then as we get into the weekend here, Mars will be opposing up to Chiron, so there may be some wounds that do come up involving this home stuff or health stuff. So if there is, it's an internal wound, but as you do the inner healing, it could be a very refreshing weekend actually, especially going into next week. If you're doing any healing with your health or with home matters. And then on Sunday, Mercury does oppose up to that Uranus, suggesting that a lot of this weekend is about balance. And the balance here is with that while there's so much focus on your material side to life and your resources, there is also this energy of the 8th house, which is about the non-material, right? So you're likely wanting to break free in the sense of wanting deeper things in your life, maybe deeper connections, connecting to what matters most. And that's great. Listen to that. But again, we can't have one without the other, right? In order to have depth and intimacy and openness and deep connection in life, we do have to be rooted in earth, be rooted in our own self-reliance, sense of self-worth, right? And pursue the material world, stability, groundedness there. And vice versa, though. If there's too much concentration on the earth and not enough concentration on what matters more than the material, then we do need to bring that in. So seeing how you can bring in the two can help balance out if there is any uneasiness or mental energy that's stressed or compulsive or something like that, which can sometimes be the case with Mercury opposite up to Uranus there. All right, but I still think developing and focusing on the resourceful resources is just fantastic. That's where your energy is, and just bringing in a little bit of whatever this freedom is that's wanting to get into that deeper transformational, side to life. All right, so Leo, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast. Take care. All right, Virgos, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week, happy birthday, first of all, for those of you who are watching for your sun signs. You have your birthdays this week. But for all of you, have all this energy in your first house in Virgo at this time. In fact, Venus is coming into here right at the beginning of the week, helping you see the value of the things that you want in life, like your goals, your desires, who you are, even feeling a bit attractive. Good time, maybe go to the salon or, improve your looks or buy some clothes or something like that. Whatever you're guided to there to sort of spruce up that self-image is very nice. But nonetheless, just enjoying a bit of this independent energy, right? And energy that is focused on your goals and your personal needs at this time. And so for the next, in this case, couple months, really good for attracting things there. But, this whole cycle, this whole lunar cycle really is about focusing on your independence and your personal needs. And I think in this third quarter phase, it's a really good time to continue to challenge yourself in this area, perhaps. Develop it, build your goals, see the big picture, that type of thing. Now, your ruler is going to be squaring up to Mercury coming into the week, Monday, Tuesday time, right, from that first house. So really good to be patient with anything involving communication, perhaps, or patient involving anything involving your home life or your health. That's where Pluto's been transiting, so it's already been this area that's been important for you to have non-attachment with. But now these couple days of the week, Monday, Tuesday, good to sort of integrate that, develop that. Because, Pluto's helping you free yourself up from any attachments, any security blankets, any patterns that come from fear, right? That control energy. And so as you ease up that control, you have that non-attachment to your home or your health, and maybe just two in terms of your goals and what you want and your desires. It can be a very liberating energy, very transformational for your sign coming into the week. Now, midweek is when Mars starts to go into your first house, which is nice because now all the fast movers are out of your 12th. So whereas there has still been, past months, it's been a long time with that Leo energy, involving more behind the scenes stuff, deeper psychological stuff and whatnot. Now the last planet, Mars, on Wednesday starts to go into your first. And this is a great area for Mars to be in, by the way. So for these next couple months, I think it's really good to, put energy into your goals. Take some active steps. Work out, maybe physical exercise, physical energy. It's about going into the world and taking action into the world and trusting your instincts as well, which is, very, very good to listen to during this time period. So with this Wednesday energy, though, Mars is squaring Saturn. So again, this sort of patience here involving it just around Wednesday. And this here is the work you've likely done the past couple of years involving communication, or learning, or anything on the practical front if you've been working hard in this area. Maybe you've just been thinking a little bit more grounded practically, that type of thing. So anything you can do to challenge yourself. Wednesday, in terms of being patient with learning, with communication, with correspondence, immediate stuff, day-to-day stuff, short distance travel stuff, really good. And if you're patient with it, then you're on the side of Saturn, and it becomes very constructive there. All right, then Thursday, Friday, your ruler Mercury does sextile Saturn, so you do get this opening here, I think, just in terms of probably feeling the flow of communication a bit, good mental stability, like I was saying in the general, and even some good stability with your career, in fact, as well. Just an opening there, and that's also when that square to Mars lifts up, right? So Thursday, Friday, things ease up a little bit. It's good to kind of use some of that stable Saturn energy. All right, and then the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Mars opposes Chiron, so there might be some healing taking place with this practical stuff, with your mind, things like that. So if any wounds do come up, like I was saying in the general, accepting them. If they're involving relationships, actually, accepting those wounds. And it can be a very refreshing weekend, very healing weekend, actually. And it really is about balance, I feel like, especially with your ruler opposite Uranus on Sunday. There's needing a balance between, while it's there's all this focus on you, right, and your personal needs and your independence, there's, of course, relationships. And Uranus has been helping you see that there's this importance of having freedom in your relationships. So there's something there. You need that freedom, want that freedom there this weekend. Listen to that, but again, remain rooted in your vision, right, in your goals, in your independence. So focus on your personal needs, but then also focusing on your relationship needs or others' needs, because we can't have one without the other, right? We can't have personal development, self-improvement, development of self without relationships in our life being healthy and balanced, and in this case, having freedom in them, and vice versa. We can't have relationships without a good sense of autonomy and independence. So your needs, others' needs, finding that sort of balance can be very liberating and freeing this weekend. All right, so Virgos, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast. All right, Libra, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week we've got all this energy taking place still in your 12th house. So this is the house of uncertainty. It is the house of essentially finding peace in life. And so I think right off the bat, you're going to see the value of a lot of this. I think this area has already been emphasized the past couple weeks, but now you got Venus coming in here, which is actually a house she likes to be in. She's all about that dreamy energy. And so I think you can see the value with things like getting your rest or meditation or your alone time or understanding more about yourself psychologically, for example. This stuff is, it is about essentially finding peace, and anything you can do in this area to help you find peace through accepting of self, accepting of how things are now in the now moment. All of this is just great at this time. So on Monday, though, there is a bit of a clash between the Sun, Mercury energy, and Pluto. And Pluto's been in your 3rd house, so if there's anything involving communication, anything involving how you're thinking about things, that you feel like there's control or attachment with, really good to be, as best as you can, non-attached, right? And that's where the empowerment of Pluto really arises, that non-attachment with things in life in general. So it can be liberating, it can be freeing, and again, anything you can do to develop that acceptance, that receptivity of life is just a great way of working with it. Now, Wednesday, Mars goes into your 12th, so I think what you'll find the second half of the week, and really for the coming couple months, is more of this way of getting things done that's more receptive, right? Because oftentimes, when we have this, the most direct way of getting something done is not necessarily the best way. Sometimes we have to go about it in an indirect way or take a step back. And this is a great way of working with Mars in the 12th. You can get a lot done, believe it or not, but it'll be through using the current of life, the flow of life, right? Where you're listening, you're intuitive, and through that intuition and seeing where the energy is flowing and putting energy into that, I think you'll find that it's unlocking this whole new way of getting things done while you're still maintaining your spiritual beingness, your acceptance in the now moment, yet actively involved in the world. Now, Wednesday, though, Mars squaring Saturn does suggest a bit of patience, maybe with relationship stuff, just grounded long-term energy there, big picture, remembering the big picture, and then also with your finances as well. Actually, that's where Saturn's been transiting. So the past couple of years, I think it's been good to take that slow and steady approach to finances anyways, whatever that means for you, that responsible energy. And as you embody that big picture responsible energy, I think you'll find it's a great way of working with this particular square on Wednesday. Now, Thursday, Friday, Mercury, then sextile Saturn, so an easy aspect there. Just giving a bit of a break after that Wednesday square to Saturn, perhaps. And enjoying, at least it's just opening here to enjoy some of the things you do have in your life, the values you have, to be grateful for what you have. And then maybe to get some of that receptive time as well. Now the week does end Saturday, Sunday with that Mars opposite up to Chiron, and then Mercury opposite up to Uranus, suggesting this importance of balance, that while it's great to have this receptive time and alone time, or tranquil time, it's also important to get into our routine and our work. And so there's likely some sort of buzzing energy with Uranus around Sunday in particular, of feeling like you want to break free with your routine or, liberate yourself there in some way. But maintaining balance, right, I think is great. And seeing the balance of having both rest and then at the same time also your work, your day-to-day, and your health and your self-improvement, because we really can't have one without the other, right? We can't have peace in life, alone time, tranquil time, spiritual time, if we're not structuring our routine, if we're not involved with something on the day-to-day, if we're not self-disciplined and working at it. And vice versa. We can't do our work, day-to-day stuff, if we don't have enough time to get in touch with ourselves spiritually. So finding that balance can be very healing with Chiron and actually very liberating with Uranus going into next week. All right, so Libra, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching. And don't forget to watch the other signs for your sun, moon, and ascendant. Take care. All right, Scorpio and Ophiuchus, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week, looking at this in the most simplest way is looking at your ruler Mars, who is going to be transitioning into your 11th house of your ideals midweek. And this is an area that's already been emphasized for you, and I think it'll continue to be so, which involves your future aspirations, right? Everything in the future. And then also involves your tribe, right? Your friends, your community. And so great to continue to focus on this stuff. And I think you'll likely notice a bit of an emphasis, more of an emphasis, let's say, Wednesday onward as your ruler goes in there. Now, coming into the week on Monday, there is this, like I was saying, this control where the ego is wanting to hold on tight in some way. And that could be involving your aspirations and friends type of stuff, your tribe in some way. So non-attachment there is important. But I think where it's really emphasizing is on your material life, such as your finances or just your sense of self-worth. So if there's anything that you do feel attached to in the material realm or with your self-reliance, feeling, that type of control, holding on tight type of energy, great to take that step back, like I was saying in the general forecast. And through that willingness to take the step back, be non-attached, it can be very liberating, very transforming. And I think it's going to be transforming you. I think it's going to be transforming your values and even to your aspirations, feeling non-attached to your future aspirations and making changes there maybe you would otherwise not make had the attachment and fear still been there. So that's coming into the week, and yeah, Venus is going into the 11th house for about the next month and a half. So I think, there's a lot of emphasis here on your future and your ideals. I think you're seeing the value of this. A lot of you could be enjoying spending time with groups or organizations, which is great. And then Wednesday, when that Mars does go into your 11th, he is going to be squaring up to Saturn in your first. So taking a step back, perhaps, or just remembering the big picture. I think a lot of you are going to be doing this in a very grounded way because you've already had Saturn in your first for the past couple years. A lot of you become more Saturn 9 through this process, right? More willing to be patient, grounded, responsible, let's say. So just remembering that and developing this 2 steps forward, 1 step back, patience, persistence, big picture perspective. And that will help, I think, integrate this energy. And it can be a very constructive middle part of the week for your goals and even with your routine, actually, and anything on that day to day. Now, when that energy starts to lift off, we get into about Thursday, Friday, Mercury sextile Saturn. So very good here, I think, for just having a bit of that stable mind, like I was saying in the general. But again, maybe spending some time with your tribe, your friends, maybe grounding some ideas about your future aspirations, that type of thing. And maybe just a good mental energy in general as Mercury sextile Saturn in your first. Now, the week does end Saturday, Sunday with your ruler opposite Chiron. And so there could be some healing you're doing this weekend. And it's very good to do that. I think it's going to happen naturally. I think it can be very rejuvenating and refreshing. And I think a lot of it will be involving how Chiron's been helping you heal your self-expression. Any wounds you've had with your self-expression for about almost the past year now. So great to heal those wounds if they do come up, and or involving your confidence or what you're about, who you are, whatever. And know that you're very good with these things. Chiron is an internal thing, not so much an objective fact or reality. So yeah, acceptance is key with Chiron, and through that, very rejuvenating. And then on Sunday, if you do find that there's a erratic energy, again, busy energy with the mind or uneasiness, seeing how you can strike this balance between, yes, it's great to be connecting to your future aspirations, but your true self is probably wanting some of this freedom of self-expression, right? Uranus has been here for over 7 years now in your 5th, helping you find unique and different ways of enjoying things, of expressing yourself, of being who you are. And so, the tribe needs us to be who we are. Our aspirations need us to be who we are. So listening to that without going to either extreme, I think is great. All right, and that's integrating the two where your passions align more with your aspirations and your tribe. All right, so Scorpio and Ophiuchus, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast. Take care. All right, Sagittarius, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week, so we have these challenging aspects, but it's all about this constructive change, right? Coming into the week on Monday, that Sun, Mercury, who are in your 10th house, I think a lot of your focus right now is on your career or your productive life, and that's great. It's where your ruler Jupiter is anyways. It's been emphasizing it for about the past year now. And now you got the fast movers here. And you're going to have Venus coming into this area on Monday, Tuesday, followed by Mars on Wednesday, giving you this, in the case of Venus, seeing more of your value with your career or productive life or public life, public image. And maybe some of you forming some relationships in that sphere, feeling more attractive in your public image in that sense. And then once Mars goes in there, by feeling motivated. I think the motivation's already been there, but I think Mars now at the top of your chart, energy levels are high, good perhaps, depending on your other signs, but you've got this Mars, this independence, this action, this initiative to be put into all of your long-term goals and your career for the next couple months, really, with this. Now, Monday, Tuesday, that Sun, Mercury, who's been there already, are squaring up to Pluto in your first house. So anything that, again, is about that you're feeling a control, attachment to, maybe involving your independence, maybe involving that career stuff, great to be non-attached to as best as you can in your own way. And through that non-attachment, it can help liberate you and free you up and make changes that you may have otherwise not made because maybe the fear was holding you back. All right, because that's where the control comes from, is from fear. So great to work and develop yourself in that way as best as you can at your own pace coming into the week, and I think you can find it transformational. Now, that Wednesday, when Mars goes into your 10th, midweek, he does square up to Saturn. So it is a reminder that I think the past couple of years have been really good for you to take seriously your spiritual life, your rest, your alone time, your psychological well-being, develop healthy habits. So anything you can do to challenge yourself with that on Wednesday is fantastic. Okay, it's taking it slow and steady, patient, one step at a time. Even too with your self-expression of things you normally find fun in life, maybe that just feeling a bit throttled there. But again, it's Saturn helping you, in this case, develop your passions and your self-expression in a way that's grounded, long-term, and patient. Now, Thursday, Friday, Mercury does sextile Saturn, so there's a bit of that easing up with that square to Mars, which is good, and giving some stability to, I think, the career front. And also with relationships on a minor note. So feeling grounded both with career and relationships, just an easy energy to work with, maybe even feeling a bit easygoing in those areas with Saturn in your 12th. And then the week does end with Mars opposite Chiron and Mercury opposite up to Uranus. So this balance of, while there's all this emphasis on your career, there might be some things that's either you or coming from your external environment that are suggesting this freedom with your home, right? In your personal life, needing freedom there in some way. So just remembering, of course, that we can't have good career without good home life, and listening to the freedom, but maintaining that balance. And if any wounds do come up in terms of your home or even your health, a lot of you are doing healing with your health with Chiron in your 4th, or regarding the past or whatever it is, know that this is an internal wound that you're healing. And as you do that inner acceptance, you're going to find it's very rejuvenating and refreshing, helping heal your soul, your body, right? This inner 4th house, even your home life and your relationship to the past and your soul and all this. And that's going to also help, I think, develop more of your career front. Because like I said, you can't have one without the other, right? So our career needs us to be connecting to our personal life and our bodies and our health. And in order to have good home and health, we do need to be doing something productive and career driven. All right, so Sagittarius, have a great week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast. All right, Capricorn, welcome to your weekly forecast. So let's go ahead and break out this week in the most simplest way. And this is, I think, looking at first how there's a lot of concentration on your ninth house of travel and of philosophy and just accessing a bit of your adventurous side, right? Open-mindedness, but also adventurous as well. Really good time for this. There's energy, there's life force, there's opportunity, in fact. And right off the bat, Venus comes into this ninth house, helping you see the value and enjoyment of your adventurous side and anything that expands your horizons. And there's in many ways a transformation occurring with your relationship sphere coming into the week as Venus leaves your eighth and goes into the ninth. So the eighth has been, there's been a lot of emphasis in your eighth these past couple months, which is more about depth and transformation and facing fears and healing and all of this. And it is still a life path for you to do all that with the North Node there. However, now that the fast movers are leaving, and this week the last of them leaving, I think you'll notice this transformation energy about you. And in this case, maybe your relationships, maybe your self-expression, and also your career, just sort of transforming and then feeling a bit more free-spirited in these areas, expansive in these areas. Now, coming into the week on Monday, the Sun-Mercury conjunction will be squaring up to Pluto, like I was saying. So collectively, there is this attachment taking place, or it's showing us where we're already attached, right? And so this could be on a very deep unconscious level for you, having to do with subconscious or unconscious patterns. So meditation is a great help Monday, Tuesday, I feel like. Anything that's helping you become more conscious of your unconscious, right? Such as even psychology, understanding more about that, listening to your dreams also, and of course, meditation. And through that, it can help you break these patterns, these attachments, these fears, these things that are karmically involved from the past that are sort of in your psyche, let's say, that you're freeing yourself with, through, or from. And so generally, if there's anything you're attached to, and it could be pertaining to anything, again, involving philosophy, involving higher learning, involving travel, non-attachment there can really help free you up and liberate you in many ways. Now, the Wednesday time period is then Mars going into your your ninth house, and that could be very transformational with your motivation. Up until Wednesday, these past couple months have really been, again, emphasizing the deeper connection to things. And with Mars is there, yes, it's great for like psychology and transformation and change and facing wounds and all this, but this takes on another level in terms of your motivation drives becoming a little bit more free-spirited. And so it's going to be transforming that. And I think it's also going to be transforming your home life and also your tribe or any groups or organizations you're a part of. This transformation occurring with that, and again, leading to more expansion there. With that being said, on Wednesday, Mars does square Saturn around that day. So being patient with the tribe stuff, being patient with the groups, the friends, your aspirations, and just taking it one step at a time, but challenging yourself there nonetheless. And the area you're really challenging yourself with is that stuff. Saturn's been in your 11th house for the past 2 years, suggesting that you're building your relationship with your tribe at this time, or can be. It's really good to challenge yourself to do that. And then also at the same time to build your aspirations, your future, right? Hopes and wishes for the future. And so integrating that, right? Saturn is your ruler, so it's nothing out of the blue for you. You're already about patience, persistence, and I think just remembering that this week in those areas can be great. And two, if you're feeling like you're wanting to, to square up to Mars, sometimes we just want to come out of the gates and just get something done and do it. If you're feeling that, maybe just taking a bit of a step back, if you're guided to, and then coming from that place of centeredness, so we're not rushing out with Mars and doing anything impulsive or, super even self-oriented sometimes with Mars there. All right, and then Thursday, Friday, Mercury does sextile your ruler Saturn. So good mental energy. Thursday, Friday, maybe good for the routine. And then again, philosophy, higher learning, maybe getting involved with anything that expands your mind or your adventurous side. And then over the weekend, Mars does oppose up to Chiron And then Mercury opposes up to Uranus from your 9th to your 3rd. So this is this healing. If any wounds do come up this weekend, maybe involving this tribe stuff we're talking about, or your aspirations, or even your home life, or even your health, any wounds that come up, great to do that acceptance, and through that can be very healing and rejuvenating. And what this whole axis is about is really about your perspective. So right now, like I was saying, your perspective is expanding, which is great. It's great to be thinking big, seeing potentials. However, over the weekend, there might be some things in your day-to-day, in your more immediate environment, that you're wanting freedom with. So maintaining a balance between, yes, it's great to expand our horizons, but then maintain a connection to practicality and the practical things in our life. And if you can find that balance, I think it can be a very freeing weekend, in the sense that we're not going to either extreme. We're not just going into the possibilities, and we're not just getting all dense into the practical. Find a nice balance between the two. And in that sense, I think you can find it very calming, actually, and very freeing in many ways. All right, so Capricorn, have a great week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon for the next forecast. Aquarius, welcome to your weekly forecast. So this week, let's go ahead and sum it up in the most simplest way. I think there's a lot of emphasis on your 8th house, which is the house of depth and intimacy and breaking of patterns and cycles of fears that are holding us back. And I think you're going to be seeing the value of this with Venus going into this 8th house for the next roughly month and a half, and even enjoying it, right? Intimacy in those relationships, maybe enjoying doing some research, some deep diving, matters pertaining to psychology, enjoying some healing, actually. And yeah, seeing the value of all that can be great. Now, Monday, Tuesday as well, this Mercury-Sun conjunction will be squaring up to Pluto. So as a reminder, it's been very important for you since like 2007 to be non-attached to your tribe or your future aspirations. And so that could be coming up to the forefront. And so anything you can do to loosen that grip or that control, if there is any, involving the future, involving your ideals, and involving your groups, organizations you're a part of, I think it's going to be very liberating, very transformational. And again, getting into that vulnerable, open state of the 8th house can also very much assist the process if it's on that level for you. Now, on Wednesday, Mars does go into the 8th, which is actually Mars's house. And so for the next 2 months here, I think you're going to find that you're going to want to, like I said, with Venus, see the value of your depth and things that are more meaningful in life. But now Mars, you're motivated here. You're motivated to get to the bottom of things. You're motivated to get to the truth, the fact of the matter, what matters most. And that shift is great, to develop. But with that being said, on Wednesday, Mars squares Saturn. So just remembering to be patient in general. Patient with some of the career stuff, more than likely with Saturn transiting that 10th house, right? It's already been important there. Just remember, patient, persistent is a big picture thing, involving your career or your public life at this time. And if you can sort of integrate that patience regarding that, or maybe involving some of this deeper stuff, then I think that's a great way of working with it. And I think you'll find it to be very constructive middle part of the week as you're implementing that Saturn energy. And not to mention, Saturn is your ruler. So a lot of this comes very natural to you in a way, but I think what comes natural to your sign in particular is the freedom, right? Saturn is helping you find freedom with your career life. So it's not too heavy, it's not too dense. You're being patient in honoring and, connecting to your true self, right? Connect to your true self. Saturn's helping you find freedom with this area, but in that patient and grounded, responsible way. And with the square to Mars too, if you're feeling like there is this, wanting to be impulsive, take some action, you want something now, right? Since Mars is squaring your ruler, always good to take that step back in that regard. And that could be involving maybe even your communication, actually. All right, so Thursday, Friday, when that starts to ease up, Mercury sextile Saturn. So you do get that dose of Mercury, communication, learning, practical energy, which is very good. Could be implemented into your career. Also implemented into research, 8th house stuff, deep diving, intimacy, openness, just a bit of groundedness there. And then over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Mars opposes up to Chiron. And then Mercury opposes up to Uranus over the weekend. So this balance of, it's a time of really connecting to what matters most, and healing and all this non-physical stuff. But Uranus is likely going to be signaling that there is this freedom that you want to have with your finances, with your resources, right? And it's important to have freedom in those areas. So it's going to go to some extreme. Usually it's going to feel like there's a lot of focus on the deeper, and then this freedom of wanting to break free with the financial life or the material life. But balance is key with this. Listen to the freedom, but integrate both in a healthy and balanced way. We, of course, can't have good material life if we aren't connected to what matters most. And we can't just get into the deep stuff in life if we're not rooted in earth. All right, so it could be a really good weekend for gratitude, connecting to earth, listening to the freedom involving the finances or resources, and finding the healthy ways of integrating that. Now, this is also the axis of self-reliance and relying on others. So remembering that balance as well. It's great to be self-reliant, but then at the same time, we do live in an interdependent world, right? We do rely on others. And it's great to rely on others, but of course to be independent, self-reliant as well. All right, so with that kind of energy, it can be also very healing with that Chiron, and rejuvenating in that regard. If any wounds do come up with your sense of self-worth or that self-reliance, know that you're very good here, just doing some internal healing. And as you accept any wounds that do come up, I think you can find it to be a very refreshing weekend in that regard, especially going into next week, feeling quite healed there. All right, so Aquarius, have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast. All right, Pisces, welcome to your weekly forecast. So let's break all of this down in the most simplest way, and I think for you is on the 7th house of relationships. So you've had the Sun, Mercury, and of course your ruler Jupiter there for the past year with Jupiter. So I think there's been a lot of emphasis in terms of one-to-one connections, relating with others, developing new relationships. There's opportunities for that, but also developing your existing ones. And with Jupiter, it's like we can feel good about it. We can feel inspired about this area, but it's really up to us to develop it. So know that the opportunities are there, and there's this whole development taking place this month, this past 2 weeks, and then pretty much for the whole month of October going into November, involving this new beginning, these shifts and changes happening with relationships. So this week on Monday, remaining non-attached, maybe in regards to relationships, can be very powerful with the square to Pluto, and also non-attached to your career, right? So Pluto's showing us where we're holding on tight, and as we work on this, accepting the fears, we become more non-attached, and it can liberate us and it can free us up. And so anything you can do on that level, involving either your relationships or your career life, is great, and that can be very liberating actually coming into the week. Now this is the same time that Venus goes into your 7th house, which is her house actually. So for about the next month and a half, I think you're seeing the value of your relationships. and enjoying them and connecting on that level, right? So really good there. And then Mars goes into the 7th on Wednesday. So for the next 2 months with this, your desires, right? Seeing what you desire in relationships, being direct, active, independent in your relationships, right? Knowing what you want and being clear about it and pursuing it in ways that are still tactful with Venus, but yet, clear on what you want with Mars. And that motivation drive really good to be channeled into those that matter most to you and on just developing relationships. And this is, again, all relationships in your life. Now, on Wednesday, though, there is a bit of this resistance with Mars squaring up to Saturn. Remembering patience, I think, with your life path around Wednesday and with anything that's about your adventurous side or expanding your horizons. Because Saturn's already been helping you develop this area for the past couple years, right? Patience, persistence with expanding your horizons, your life path. So remembering that can be great, and that can help integrate this energy. And just being patient, too, with maybe some of the financial matters, if anything like that is unfolding. It's all about integrating Saturn, patience, persistence, long-term energy that helps us get on the right side of these transits and helps it become very, very constructive. And it can be a very constructive area for you in those areas. Now, Mercury is sextiling up to Saturn, so there is this now easy energy as that starts to lift off the second half of the week, Thursday, Friday. Good stability maybe in those relationships, maybe even too with your home life, actually. It's just an opening for that stuff, feeling grounded there. And then maybe just seeing this perspective about what we were just talking about with Saturn in your ninth, about patience there. But just an opening here, I think, of just a good grounded perspective on things. Relationships and home, perhaps. All right, and then Saturday, Sunday, Mars does oppose up to Chiron. So there is this healing energy over the weekend. This is Chiron in your first house, and it will be Mars in your 7th. So also remembering, too, especially with Mercury opposite Uranus, this whole importance of balance between, yes, there's all this energy on relationships, but there's this wanting to break free with your independence, right? With Uranus in your first house, to be who you are, to break free there. So just remembering balance, okay? Your needs, balance with others' needs, or independence and relationships, right? And that kind of balance can be very freeing if you can find it in your own way, and very healing as well, actually, with Chiron, because a lot of you are healing wounds regarding your confidence, regarding your independence. So almost the past year with Chiron in your first. And so as you do that healing, know you're very good with who you are, with your goals, with your independence. It's just some wounds are coming up, and as you do that inner healing, you can find it very, very refreshing, let's say, going into next week. All right, Pisces, so have a great week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all very soon for the next forecast. Take care.